Hello, we are delighted that you are interested in transcutaneous vagus nerve stimulation, short tVNS. It is a mobile and independently applicable therapy option that does not require surgery or medication and has only few side effects. In this video, I will explain exactly how to use the tVNS-E patient device. My name is Elisa Hack, and together with my colleagues Josephine Funke and Juliette Hernandez Barthelo, I am responsible for customer service at tVNS Technologies. You can reach us via the contact form at the bottom of every page of our website at www.t-vns.com and via the contact details provided here. A little bit about me. What qualifies me to tell you about tVNS? I'm a trained medical technologist in radiology and also studied neuroscience at the University of Cologne. During my studies, I worked with the tVNS device in child and adolescent psychiatry, which is how I came to join our company, tVNS Technologies. In this video, I would like to explain how our tVNS-E device is used. If you have already purchased the tVNS device, you will find further details in the operating instructions supplied. If you are pregnant or use an active implant such as a pacemaker or deep brain stimulator, or if you have a major injury to your left ear where our electrode is attached, you should consult your doctor before using tVNS to determine whether tVNS therapy is possible. What is included in the delivery? You will receive the stimulator that produces the impulses. It is smaller than a mobile phone. You will also receive an electrode through which the electrical impulses are emitted to stimulate the vagus nerve in the ear through the skin. You will also receive everything you need to start therapy immediately: a charger, including cable, electrode gel, electrode pads, and a bag to store everything and carry it with you at all times. No further preparations are necessary to use the device. The device can also be used while wearing earrings, for example. So how is the tVNS-E device used? We start with the electrode. How is it constructed? It consists of a white electrode holder that holds the electrode in the ear, and the actual electrodes, which are the two silver balls at the tip. These are the anode and the cathode. Electricity flows between the anode and the cathode. It flows through the skin and stimulates the vagus nerve located directly beneath the skin. The electrode is placed in the sympa-conchae. This is the area of the auricle that's highlighted in purple here. It is a hollow in the center of the auricle, embedded in a cartilage ridge above and below the hollow, which makes it easy to feel. The entire area of the sympa-conchae contains vagus nerve fibers, as can be seen in the second and third images, also highlighted in purple. The abbreviation ABVN stands for auricular branch of the vagus nerve, which means the ear branch of the vagus nerve. Every ear looks different, which is why the electrode sits slightly differently on each person. However, the electrode balls are always located in this hollow and therefore always reach the vagus nerve, regardless of whether the electrode touches the skin further forward or further back in the sympa-conchae. Our tVNS-E device is only certified for use on the left ear, as most studies to date have been conducted on the left side. But there are an increasing number of studies that use tVNS on the right side or on both sides. However, our device is currently only officially approved to use on the left ear. We start by adjusting the legacy electrode. First, adjust the white holder. It is mounted on a rail and can be moved very close to the two silver balls or further away. If you have smaller ears, choose a smaller distance, and if you have larger ears, choose a larger distance. Moving the holder is a little difficult at first. Once you have moved the holder a few times, it becomes easier. Here you can see how the electrode sits in the left ear. By moving the holder downwards, you can apply more pressure to the cable and thus to the electrode clamped in the sympa conchae. Please keep this in mind. If the electrode frequently falls out of the ear, please adjust it here and increase the distance between the silver beads and the white holder. Next, we select a suitable silicone ring. These come in 3 sizes: large, medium, and small. Select a silicone ring according to your ear size and place it over the ring of the white electrode holder. Make sure that the transparent silicone ring is positioned around the recess in the white holder provided so that the silicone ring sits securely and cannot come loose. If you are sure which silicone ring is best for you, you can also play it safe and glue it to the white holder with superglue. We have now correctly adjusted the legacy electrode. For the sake of completeness, I would like to briefly mention that we offer another electrode, the hook electrode. However, this electrode is less stable in the ear for most patients and is only used by 5% of our customers. It can be an alternative for people, especially children, who are very sensitive to pressure, people with hearing aids, and people who want to wear over-ear headphones while using tVNS. Next, we come to the electrode gel. It is used to minimize the risk of skin irritation. It also improves the connection between the electrode and the skin, resulting in more stable stimulation. It is a gel that has been specially formulated to the electrode material. Therefore, please do not use any other gel than this one. It contains salts that promote the flow of electricity and also cares for the skin. You should use it with every application. It is very rich but can be reordered from our online shop if necessary. Transfer some of the gel from the large jar to the small travel container. The small travel container should be filled to the brim, as this makes it easier to apply to the electrodes. Close both containers as soon as possible to prevent the gel from drying out. Take the small gel-filled travel container and dip the silver balls of the electrode into the gel one at a time. Wipe off any excess gel from the edge of the container. There should be no gel between the 2 silver balls, as this will increase the amount of current flowing directly between the 2 silver balls, resulting in less current flowing into the skin to stimulate the vagus nerve. If you have used too much gel and a short circuit occurs between the 2 silver balls, you will not feel any stimulation. In such a case, please clean the electrodes and your ear with the disinfection wipes provided and reapply, but this time use slightly less gel on the electrodes. Only use alcohol wipes to clean the electrode. Please do not use water, as this will damage the electrode. You can also use the alcohol wipes to clean the stimulator. Please clean both the electrode and the stimulator with as little liquid as possible. You can also use the disinfectant wipes to minimize resistance to stimulation by cleaning your ear with the wipes. However, you should not do this every time. For example, if you've just showered, this is not necessary. These wipes contain alcohol, which can dry out the skin. Therefore, use the wipes carefully on the skin. The disinfectant wipes are also available in our online shop. However, you can also use other products that contain at least 75% isopropyl alcohol. It is best to get into the habit of cleaning the electrode of any gel residue after each use, as the gel makes stimulation more difficult when dry. Once you have applied the electrode gel, you can now insert the electrode in the ear. Some users find a mirror helpful for the first few applications. Others locate the stimulation site by touch alone and insert the electrode. Try out what works best for you. It takes a little practice and patience, but by the second or third application, insertion will be much easier and quicker. There is only one way to place the legacy electrode in the ear. If the electrode stays in place, it is most likely positioned correctly in the ear. To insert the electrode, it is best to first place the two silver balls in the sympa-conchae, the hollow in the middle of the ear. Then, in a second step, push the white electrode holder so that the holder hooks into the ear. If the electrode falls out of the ear immediately, increase the distance between the white electrode holder and the silver electrode balls and try a larger silicon ring for the electrode holder. Now we come to the stimulator. To clip the stimulator to your shirt pocket or trousers, attach this black triangular piece to the black of the stimulator. You can do this in either direction, depending on where you want the cable to run. There are two recesses on the side of the stimulator at different heights into which this black clip clicks audibly. Here you can see the parameters with which the device works. Most of the values are fixed. You can only freely select the current intensity and the duration of the stimulation. The stimulator takes about 5 hours to charge and can then be used for about 4 days, although the exact duration depends on how long the device is used each day and at what current intensity. The device is very intuitive to use. We will go through it step by step. First, we switch on the device using the power button at the top left. Press and hold the button until all the lights turn on and a soft tone is heard. At this point, the device is testing all of its functions. After a few seconds, all the lights will turn off again. The second step is to actively start the stimulation by pressing the Start Pause button. The stimulation will then start. This is indicated by the circled exclamation mark, which lights up orange. If the electrode is positioned correctly so that it has stable skin contact, the left ear will light up green only for a few seconds before going out. Of the two ears visible on the device, only the left ear lights up, even if you are using the electrode in the right ear. The electrode only detects whether skin contact is sufficient and not which ear the electrode is currently being used in. In principle, the electrode is designed for the left ear, which is why it tends to sit more securely in the left ear. If the left ear glows red, please check whether the electrode is positioned correctly in the ear or apply a little more electrode gel to the silver balls. If the electrode is positioned correctly, the left ear will light up green briefly and then go out again, indicating that the device is stimulating in a pattern. Active stimulation phases alternate with pause phases. The active stimulation phases last 28 seconds and can be recognized by the circled exclamation mark lighting up orange continuously. In the subsequent pause phase, which lasts 32 seconds, the circled exclamation mark flashes slowly. These phases alternate repeatedly. This stimulation pattern has proven to be particularly gentle and has few side effects. So if you do not feel any stimulation during the course of the treatment, it may be because you are in the pause phase. In this case, the exclamation mark would flash slowly. The active stimulation will then continue after a few seconds. The active stimulation phase starts after switching on the device with a current intensity of 0.1 milliampere. Now press the plus button repeatedly until you feel a tingling sensation. Each time you press the plus button, the current intensity increases by a further 0.1 milliampere. During the first few applications, approach your pain threshold to get a feel for this sensation. Then reduce the intensity by pressing the minus button to a level that is comfortable for you. tVNS should not be painful in the long term. You may need to adjust the current intensity repeatedly during a single application in order to maintain a pleasant tingling sensation. The body gets used to the stimulation. However, you may also suddenly become more sensitive to the stimulation. If this happens, reduce the intensity accordingly. The required intensity can vary greatly from person to person. It is therefore not useful to compare yourself to others or to automatically set a specific intensity over and over again. It is best to go by how you feel. You can see roughly what stimulation intensity you have set directly on the stimulator. The more often you press the plus button, the more the blue bar surrounding the control panel increases clockwise. Pressing the plus button once corresponds to 0.1 milliampere. In the usual stimulation range, 1 bar corresponds to 0.2 or 0.3 milliampere. Once you have found the right intensity for you, you can note the length of the blue border. For safety reasons, the device will start at the lowest intensity the next time you use it. But if you hold down the plus button, the intensity will increase more quickly, and you will reach the intensity you wanted in the last session more quickly. However, as already mentioned, the required intensity can change from time to time. Once you have found the right stimulation intensity for you and have not pressed any buttons for a few seconds, the blue border will change its meaning. If you have used the device for longer than 15 minutes, you can see how long the device has been in use in this step. The blue border does not increase clockwise, but decrease clockwise. 1 blue bar corresponds to 15 minutes of stimulation time. 4 blue bars, that is a quarter of the blue border, which no longer light up clockwise, correspond to 1 hour of stimulation time. This is the case in the first image. In the second image, for example, stimulation lasted 2 hours and 15 minutes. You can also view the exact stimulation time and intensity in our tVNS app if required. This is available free of charge from the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. However, it is not necessary for using the tVNS device. The daily duration should be increased slowly to minimize the risk of initial side effects. It is best to start with 15 to 30 minutes and increase the duration by another 15 to 30 minutes each day. If you still experience dizziness or mild headaches during the adjustment phase, don't worry, these will disappear on the same day. In total, you should not exceed a daily stimulation duration of 4 hours. Most people use the device for 3 till 4 hours a day. These 3 till 4 hours can be divided into smaller units. Patients with post-COVID and ME/CFS are an exception. They are more sensitive than all our other patients and should increase the duration more slowly, according to how they feel. Some can only increase by a few minutes from day to day. But even in this way, improvements in the symptoms can be achieved in this clinical picture. After just a few days, many patients report an improvement in their sleep quality, which makes them feel fitter during the day. Another common report is an acceleration of digestion and a reduction in stress levels. Users of the tVNS device do not become stressed as quickly, return to state of calm more quickly from a stressed state, and find it easier to concentrate. However, there are some conditions such as epilepsy, depression, autism, and ME/CFS, where in many cases the full effect only becomes apparent after daily use for around 4 months. tVNS is therefore not an acute therapy. tVNS forms new nerve connections and change the concentrations of neurotransmitters in the brain. These changes take time. However, you can consolidate and stabilize these changes by using the device regularly. There are some indications that we know can lead to initial worsening in the first few weeks as the body adjusts to the therapy. This is not always the case, but it can happen. So far, this has been observed in the treatment of epilepsy, depression, autism, and tinnitus. In this case, please discuss the next steps with your treating physician and also report any change in your symptoms to us. The generally possible side effects are minor. The most common are redness of the stimulation area in the ear, although the risk of this can be minimized by applying the supplied electrode gel with each use. Headaches, dizziness, and inflammation of the nasopharynx may also occur, although in our experience, these only occur during the first few weeks of the adjustment phase. If they do occur, these side effects arise directly during or immediate after tVNS and can therefore be linked to it. If this happens, you can simply stop using tVNS for that day. These side effects will subside on the same day or the following day at the latest. All research groups working with tVNS classify tVNS as a safe therapy method, and our tVNS device in particular is the only tVNS device on the market that is certified according to the current European medical device regulation and approved for children aged 3 years and older. Once you have found the right setting for you, you can activate the key lock button at the bottom right by pressing and holding it. You can tell that it is active by the blue border around the key lock button. You can deactivate it again by pressing and holding the button once more. If you do not press any buttons, the device will go into standby mode. Then only the circled exclamation mark will light up or flash when the device is active, and the key lock button will light up with the blue border if you have activated it. Now let's move on to troubleshooting. What options do you have if something isn't working? For example, what can you do if you don't feel any tingling? If you do not feel any tingling, please check whether the intensity has already been increased to the maximum or whether there is still room for adjustment. Some users have to increase the intensity considerably before they feel any tingling, which is perfectly fine. Every adjustable current intensity is well tolerated, although the level of pain varies from person to person. It is also possible that too much gel has been used. In this case, most of the current flows over the gel on the skin surface and not into the skin. In this case, please clean both your ear and the electrode with the alcohol wipes provided. Allow both to air dry and do not wipe them dry. This time, apply slightly less gel to the silver electrode balls than in the previous application and reinsert the electrode into your ear. If the first 2 points did not help, test the electrode on your right ear. This will allow you to check whether the electrode is working properly and whether the difference in pain perception between the 2 ears is simply due to individual differences. If you only feel the stimulation in your right ear or in neither ear, please contact us. If the ear lights up red, first check the position of the electrode. Has it slipped out of place? It can take one stimulation cycle, which means about 1 minute for the device to switch from a red to a green ear. You can speed this up by briefly pausing the stimulation after checking the position of the electrode in the ear by pressing the largest button, the Start Pause button, and then restarting the stimulation by pressing the Start Pause button a second time. If the ear continues to light up red, a little more electrode gel will most likely help. Apply a little more gel than before to the electrode heads and reinsert the electrode into the ear. If this does not improve the situation and the ear still lights up red, test the electrode pads. The use of pads is not absolutely necessary, but optional. They can be useful if, for example, you are taking medication that makes your skin thinner or more sensitive. These pads increase the surface area through which the electrons penetrate the skin, further reducing the likelihood of skin irritation. If you use them, first apply some gel to the electrode heads as you would for any application, as shown in the first picture here. Then place one of the white foam cylinders exclusively on the silver part of the electrode heads. Finally, moisten the pads with gel on the outside as well. It is important that the pads are coated with gel both on the outside and inside, as they cannot conduct electricity when dry. If you use the pad, it is normal that a higher intensity must be set due to the increased resistance until a tingling sensation is felt. The pads are single-use products. They must be disposed of after each use and new ones used the next time. They can be reordered from our online shop. It is best to get into the habit of cleaning the electrode with alcohol wipes after each use so that you can start applying fresh gel straight away the next time you use it. So much for the application of the tVNS device. We also offer an app for patients, but this is optional. The patient device can also be used without an app. The stimulation data is stored on the device itself. If a person uses the device on average, stimulation data from over a year can be stored on it. So if, for example, you want to review your data after 6 months, you can synchronize your device with the app after 6 months and your data will not be lost. When the memory is full, the oldest data is overwritten. Only you have access to your data and you can send it to yourself via email using the app. If you have any further questions about tVNS, please do not hesitate to contact us. My colleagues and I will be happy to help you and send you, for example, indication-specific studies. You can find my contact details here, and you can also contact us via the contact form on our website at www.t-vns.com. Thank you very much for your interest, and I wish you every success with tVNS therapy.